Let's stop pretending. Let's stop lying to ourselves about how the world works. Life doesn't reward kindness. It rewards movement, power, and results. The ones who win are not the ones who wait, who hesitate, or who hope. They are the ones who act, the ones who decide, the ones who take. You can have a good heart. You can care for everyone. You can bend over backward to help others. But if you don't stand firm, if you don't protect your time, your energy, your name, you'll be used. People won't respect you for being kind. They'll expect it. And when you finally say no, they'll call you selfish. The world is not built for soft people. It is built for those who know how to move with strategy and strength. You can cry, but you better get up after. You can feel pain, but you better not freeze. Because the game doesn't pause for your emotions. It keeps going, with or without you. Kind people sit on the sidelines wondering why they keep getting overlooked, why the job went to someone less deserving, why loyalty wasn't enough, why love wasn't returned. The answer is brutal, because the world doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to impact. The ruthless don't wait to be picked. They don't hope someone sees their worth. They walk in like they own the place, and they take what they came for. It's not because they're better, it's because they understand the rules of the game. Ruthless doesn't mean heartless. It means unshaken. It means you stop chasing people who don't value you. You stop pouring into those who only drain you. You stop trying to save everyone while you drown. It means you stop apologizing for wanting more. If you want to win, you have to stop waiting for life to be fair. You have to stop thinking your kindness will buy you success. It won't. Not in business, not in relationships, not in life. Only power gets respect. Only strength opens doors. Only certainty builds empires. You can be kind, but don't be soft. You can have heart, but don't let it blind you. Because every minute you hesitate, someone else is making a move. Someone else is closing the deal. Someone else is living the life you are too afraid to claim. The game is real, the rules are harsh, and the reward is not given to the kind. It is taken by the ruthless. Ruthless. It's a word that scares people. They hear it and think of cruelty, selfishness, cold hearts. But that's not what it means. Being ruthless doesn't mean you're evil. It means you're done playing small. It means you're done being walked over, done being used, done being the one who always gives and gets nothing in return. Ruthlessness is the moment you stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, is this right for me?
Kindness without control becomes weakness. Compassion without clarity leads to chaos. When you're too afraid to say no, too worried to take a stand, too desperate to be seen as good, you open the door to be drained by everything and everyone around you. The ruthless person doesn't hate others. They just love themselves enough to draw the line. They know their value. They know their time is expensive. They know their peace is sacred, so they protect it without apology. Ruthlessness is not rage. It is not recklessness. It is not destruction. It is focus. It is order. It is choosing your priorities over your emotions. It is doing what must be done, whether people understand you or not. Weak people confuse boundaries with cruelty. They think that saying no is mean. But the ruthless understand something deeper. Every yes to something weak is a no to something powerful. Ruthlessness is cutting out fake friends. It's walking away from dead-end conversations. It's leaving behind relationships that drain you, no matter how long they've been there. Because loyalty to destruction is still destruction. It's not about hurting people. It's about not letting people hurt you anymore. It's about knowing what you're building and refusing to let anything slow it down. Because every day you tolerate nonsense, you delay your future. Ruthlessness is not about always being aggressive. It's about being clear. Clear with your standards, clear with your goals, clear with your life. No more explaining, no more overgiving, no more apologizing for choosing yourself. Because the truth is, you've done enough bending. You've done enough giving. And where has that gotten you? Now it's time to claim your space, to stand tall, to walk forward with boldness, to live like your life is yours, not a gift to be picked apart by everyone else. That's what ruthlessness really means. It's not the absence of kindness, it's the presence of strength. Number 3. Hesitation is the language of the unsure. It's the small pause that opens the door for regret. It's the moment when fear walks in and steals the opportunity. Ruthless people don't hesitate because they've trained their minds to move. While others are overthinking, they're already acting. While others are doubting, they've already taken the shot. They understand a simple truth. In this world, speed matters. Confidence matters. certainty wins. They don't sit around wondering, what if I fail? They ask, what if I don't try? They've burned the idea of perfection out of their minds. They don't need every detail to be right. They move and adjust while moving. That's the psychology of the ruthless. They are not waiting to feel ready. They understand that readiness is a trap. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. The ruthless know the difference between fear and danger. Fear is imagined, danger is real. And most of the time, it's just fear, and they don't negotiate with fear. They don't seek permission, they don't beg.
The ruthless don't second-guess their destiny. They don't talk themselves out of what they know they're built for. They move like the opportunity belongs to them, because mentally it already does. They don't pray for doors to open, they kick them open. And if no door exists, they build one. That's the psychology of the ruthless. They don't freeze, they fire. 4. Why kindness is mistaken for weakness. Let's get one thing straight. Kindness is not weakness, but the world often treats it like it is. And if you don't understand that, you'll spend your life giving and wondering why you're still losing. You hold the door. You stay quiet to keep the peace. You help everyone, even when it costs you. You forgive again and again. And what do you get? Taken for granted. Overlooked. Passed over. Disrespected. Because most people don't know how to read kindness. They don't see the strength it takes to be good. They don't recognize the discipline it takes to be gentle in a violent world. All they see is someone who won't fight back. So they assume you can't. They confuse your silence with fear, your patience with weakness, your generosity with softness, and your loyalty with foolishness. That's the danger of being kind in a world that values dominance. If you don't show your teeth once in a while, they think you don't have any. The truth is, people treat you based on how you present yourself. If you let them walk over you, they will. If you never say no, they'll never respect your yes. If you tolerate disrespect, that becomes your value in their eyes. The problem isn't kindness. The problem is being kind without limits. The problem is giving without standards, loving without boundaries, serving everyone while forgetting yourself. Kindness only works when it's combined with strength. Without strength, your kindness becomes a free resource for the ruthless to exploit. And they will, because that's what they do. They take, they test, they push. And if you never push back, they never stop. You think you're being noble, but what you're being is drained, used, exhausted, disrespected. Kindness is only power when it's a choice, not a compulsion. When you can be ruthless, but choose not to be. When you could destroy someone, but you hold your fire. When you have the strength to be sharp, but the wisdom to be soft. That's real power. That's respected. That's rare. So don't stop being kind. Just stop being afraid to draw a line. Don't let kindness be your excuse for staying silent. Let it be your strategy. Be kind, but unpredictable. Be kind, but impossible to manipulate. Be kind, but never at the cost of your dignity. Because once they mistake your kindness for weakness, they'll never see your value until you walk away. Decision-making under fire. Ruthless versus kind. Everyone looks strong when life is calm. Everyone has morals when there's no pressure. Everyone says what they would do. Until it's time to actually do it. The difference between the ruthless and the kind shows up in the fire, when things are hard, when things are fast, when it's life-changing and high stakes. The kind hesitate. They think about how others will feel. They second-guess their gut. They look around for permission, for approval, for safety. But the ruthless, they decide, they move, they adapt, they take the shot and live with the outcome. It's not that they're smarter. It's not that they're colder. It's that they've accepted the cost of leadership. You will be misunderstood. You will be criticized. You will be alone in moments that matter. And they're okay with that. The kind want to please. They want to make everyone happy, but in trying to please all, they lose themselves. They avoid conflict and walk straight into regret. They avoid offense and end up resentful. Decision-making is a battlefield. The moment you delay is the moment the opportunity passes. The moment you doubt is the moment someone else acts. And if you're too kind to cut a tie, close a door, or say, "This ends here," you'll spend your life cleaning up other people's messes. The ruthless make hard choices fast. They don't explain everything. They don't justify their every move. They know the cost of hesitation, and they refuse to pay it. They are not careless, they are calculated.
They make decisions based on vision, not feelings, mission over emotions, direction over comfort. They understand this. If you can't make decisions under pressure, you'll always be a follower. You'll always be reacting, never leading. You'll always be affected, never in control. The kind see fire and flinch. The ruthless walk through it, because they know greatness lives on the other side. You can't lead a business, a life, or even yourself if you crumble in crisis. You can't rise if every tough call sends you into doubt. In pressure, your habits are exposed, your values are tested, and your mindset is revealed. So the question is not, are you kind? The question is, can you be decisive when it counts? Can you protect your mission even when people don't agree? Can you say no and stand by it? Can you take a loss and come back stronger? That's what separates the ruthless. That's why they win. Because when the heat comes, they don't run, they rise. How society rewards results, not intentions. Intentions are invisible, results are loud. And in this world, no one rewards what they can't see. You can be the most kind-hearted, well-meaning, thoughtful person on the planet, but if you don't produce, if you don't deliver, if you don't move the needle, you will be ignored. Society doesn't pay attention to what you meant to do, it reacts to what you actually did. That's the cold truth, and the ruthless have always known it. The ruthless aren't obsessed with looking good. They're obsessed with getting it done. They don't need to explain their hearts. They let their outcomes speak for them because they understand that the world doesn't reward the process. It rewards the product. The kind often think their goodness is enough, that people will notice their effort, that patience will be recognized, that sacrifice will be appreciated. But that's not how it works. You don't get a prize for trying. You don't get credit for almost. You don't get remembered for being nice. You get remembered for building, for winning, for conquering. That's why the ruthless always seem to rise. They're not better. They're just brutally focused on outcomes. They play for results. They track the scoreboard. They don't get caught in emotional gymnastics. They ask one thing: did this move me forward or not? Society doesn't measure your heart, it measures your contribution. It counts your wins, not your worries. And if you don't deliver value, it doesn't care how pure your soul is. The kind often confuse busyness with progress. They do 100 things to make others happy, but nothing that builds their own life. They lose years trying to be everything to everyone and end up being nothing to themselves. The ruthless, on the other hand, simplify everything. They cut distractions, they cancel noise, they do what works and discard what doesn't. And when they speak, the room listens, because the room knows they produce. You want respect? Stop over-explaining and start over-delivering. Stop trying to prove your intentions and show your results. People remember action, they remember strength, they remember success. And if that feels unfair, it's because it is. But that doesn't change the rule, that only makes it more urgent to learn it. Intentions may soothe your conscience, but results shape your legacy. The myth of fairness and how ruthless people exploit it. Fairness. It's the illusion we were sold since childhood. Work hard and you'll be rewarded. Play by the rules and you'll get your turn. Be good and life will be good to you. But here's the reality. Life is not fair. And it never was. The game was never balanced, and the ruthless, they figured that out early and turned it into a weapon. They don't wait for fairness, they don't expect it. They don't cry when it's not there. They exploit the system as it is, not as they wish it would be. The kind, meanwhile, waste time hoping the world will balance itself. They believe if they just keep giving, someone will eventually notice. They play small, wait their turn, trust the process, and end up bitter, because the process doesn't care, because the system rewards those who take, not those who wait. The ruthless see the cracks, they study the loopholes. They ask, what advantage exists, and how do I take it before someone else does? They don't play the victim, they play the architect. They're not afraid to use leverage, not afraid to bend rules that were designed to be broke. No, they don't care if you call it unfair, because they don't play for applause. They play for power. Fairness is a comfort zone. It's a fantasy. It keeps the kind locked in place, hoping for justice in a world that rewards strategy. It makes them predictable, passive, quiet. The ruthless break that illusion. They know the truth. If you want to win, you have to be willing to operate in the real world, not the ideal one. The world where decisions are made in back rooms. The world where connections beat effort, where confidence crushes credentials, where timing, boldness, and audacity matter more than talent. The kind think it's noble to suffer in silence. The ruthless think it's foolish to suffer at all. Fairness says wait your turn. Ruthlessness says create your turn. Fairness says be humble and hope. Ruthlessness says be sharp and strike. The people at the top didn't get there by luck. They got there because they stopped waiting for justice. They outworked, outmaneuvered, and outlasted the ones still begging for balance. So here's the truth. You can spend your life asking for fairness, or you can spend your life taking what's yours. One gives you comfort. The other gives you control. There's a time for kindness, and there's a time for cold silence, hard decisions, and unshakable distance. The difference between the powerless and the powerful is simple. The powerless don't know the difference. They try to be kind all the time, even when it's destroying them, even when they're being taken advantage of, even when what they really need is a boundary, not another apology. Kindness is a tool, not a rule. And when used at the wrong time, it becomes a weakness. You can't fight fire with flowers. You can't stop wolves by smiling. You can't lead with softness when the world is coming at you with sharp teeth. The ruthless know when to switch. They know when kindness opens doors, and when it opens them up to being used. They know when to listen and when to leave, when to forgive and when to forget the person altogether. You don't win by being kind every time. You win by being intentional with your kindness, by giving it to the right people in the right moments, and withholding it from anything that threatens your peace, progress, or power. Cold doesn't mean cruel. It means controlled. It means you've learned to disconnect emotion from decisions that demand clarity. It means you can hear the noise and choose silence. It means you can see the manipulation and walk away without explanation. Some people only understand distance. Some situations only respond to silence. Some problems only disappear when you stop showing up to fix them. Kindness without self-respect is self-destruction. It's setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, and then wondering why you're always the one burned. There is no honor in being endlessly available. There is no reward for being endlessly forgiving. There is only exhaustion and resentment. You are not weak for pulling back. You are not wrong for closing doors. You are not heartless for cutting ties that were never meant to grow. You're smart. Because the strongest people aren't kind all the time. They're strategic. They know when to show heart and when to show edge. They know when to serve and when to stop saving people who won't save themselves. So ask yourself, is this moment calling for warmth or war? Is this person deserving of my kindness, or are they counting on my weakness? Give love where it grows. Give space where it drains. Give silence where it protects. That's power. The hybrid strategy, ruthless heart, kind hands. The world tells you to choose, be the ruthless winner or the kind soul who gets left behind. But that's a false choice. The most powerful people are not one or the other. They are both. They have a ruthless heart. But kind hands, steel on the inside, silk on the outside. They know when to crush and when to comfort. They know how to lead with empathy and how to defend with fire. This is the hybrid strategy. Controlled dominance, strategic compassion, relentless vision with a human touch. That's the new definition of power. You don't need to become cold and cruel to win, but you do need to become precise. You do need to become dangerous in discipline, firm in your limits, and unshakable in your mission. You do need to build walls that protect, not just doors that open. Because if you're all kindness and no teeth, they'll tear you apart. And if you're all ruthlessness and no soul, you'll tear yourself apart. The hybrid player knows how to balance. They can be gentle without being weak. direct without being brutal, generous without being foolish. They don't waste time proving they have a heart. They prove it through presence, loyalty, and results. They can sit at a boardroom table and dominate strategy, then walk out and hug their child with full presence. They can cut off a toxic deal with one sentence, then spend the evening helping someone in need. Duality is power, because life is not one-dimensional. You need to be the fire and the light, the storm and the shelter, the sword and the shield. The ruthless heart knows where it's going. It doesn't flinch, it doesn't doubt, it doesn't need validation. And the kind hands know who they're holding, who they're building with, who they're lifting. Together, that's unstoppable. You don't just crush obstacles, you create trust. You don't just rise, you bring others with you. You don't just protect yourself, you build something bigger. So stop choosing. Be both. Be feared by your enemies, trusted by your allies, and unshakable in the mirror. Be the person who can walk through fire and still hold someone's hand with grace. That's not weakness. That's the highest level of strength. Becoming the lion, winning with power, keeping your soul. You've heard it all your life. To survive in this world, you need to be tough. To win, you need to be ruthless. But what no one tells you is that real greatness is not just about power, it's about balance. The goal isn't to become a monster. The goal is to become a lion. Strong, silent, calculated. Powerful, but with purpose. Deadly, but only when necessary. Respected, not just feared. Lions don't roar all day. They don't fight every battle. They know their strength, so they don't have to prove it. They walk with calm, with focus, with dignity. That's what it means to win with power and keep your soul. To rise without losing yourself. To dominate without turning into the very thing you swore you'd never become. The ruthless alone rise fast, but often fall harder, because they burn everything, including themselves. The kind alone are remembered, but often forgotten while they live, because their greatness is buried under the weight of their own silence. But the lion plays the long game. He learns the system, adapts to it, beats it, and never forgets who he is in the process. He doesn't bark, he acts. He doesn't beg, he builds. And when it's time, he strikes with precision and purpose. You've been told to pick one. Be strong or be soft. Be feared or be loved. But the lion doesn't pick. He is both. Both hunter and protector. Both fierce and wise. Both disciplined and wild when he needs to be. That's the level you must reach. When your presence speaks louder than your words. When your actions echo louder than your excuses. When you no longer chase, because you've become the gravity that everything moves around. You protect your peace like a kingdom. You guard your energy like treasure. You move like you know who you are, because you do. Being the lion means you've earned your roar. You've taken the hits. You've walked through fire. You've watched the fake fall off. And now you stand alone. Not because you're empty, but because you're full of power most people can't handle. You don't ask for respect. You command it by how you live. So in a world where the ruthless rise, become the one who rises higher. With a warrior's heart, a king's focus, and a soul that never had to be sold to win. You are not just here to survive. You are here to rule your life with power, with principle, with peace. Be the lion. Now you know the truth. The world doesn't reward kindness without power. It doesn't hand out success to those who wait. It doesn't protect the soft-hearted unless they know how to protect themselves. The ruthless win, not because they're cruel, but because they're clear. Clear about who they are. Clear about what they want. Clear about what they're not willing to tolerate. But the greatest power is
choosing between kindness and ruthlessness. It's in mastering both. Being sharp enough to conquer and wise enough to know when not to. Being kind, but never naive. Being strong, but never heartless. This is the new way to win. Not by pretending the game is fair. Not by waiting for permission. Not by sacrificing your soul to prove your worth. But by building yourself into someone who doesn't need validation. Someone who doesn't fear loss because they've faced worse. Someone who doesn't beg for peace because they've built power. Someone who doesn't talk about being ready because they are. You've heard the message, now live it. Walk into every room like you belong. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. And move like you are already what you were born to become. The ruthless may win battles, but those who master both fire and heart, they win kingdoms.